Good morning, Paterson. Tulsi Gabbard is our country's Director of National Intelligence, but she is obviously misinformed about the city of Paterson. And so today, we are going to educate Tulsi Gabbard on things she needs to know about the city of Paterson. One, the city of Paterson was founded by an immigrant, Alexander Hamilton. And we are the first planned industrial city in this country, so Paterson is the birthplace of the American Industrial Revolution. She also needs to know that Paterson is one of the most culturally diverse communities in the country. And something else she needs to know, that Paterson is proud to have one of the country's largest Muslim populations. And the last thing she needs to know, well, until a little bit later in this press conference, is that Paterson is a better place because Muslims call our city home. Very irresponsible to make comments such as the ones that she made last week. As a matter of fact, the reckless rhetoric can potentially put people in harm's way. And as the Director of National Intelligence, the last thing you want to do is put anyone in danger. So today, I'm standing in solidarity with a young man who stands up for civil rights and human rights for everyone. He is the Executive Director of the Council on American and Islamic Relations, the New Jersey chapter. And at this time, I'm going to yield to Salahuddin Maksud.
Thank you very much. Just like you said. Thanks. Thank you, everyone. Yes, my name is Salahuddin Maksud. That's S-E-L-A-E-D-I-N. Last name M-A-K-S-U-T. That is the CAIR, the Council on American Islamic Relations, New Jersey chapter. Thank you, Mayor, for your remarks and for your support. You have always stood by our community. Your leadership is deeply appreciated. We pray for you. You are someone who stands by all marginalized people, and you stand for the civil rights of all people. And that is a testament in your leadership, and we deeply appreciate you and pray for you, of course. Alhamdulillah, we praise God Almighty. Tulsi Gabbard's remarks were dangerous, inflammatory lies. It is as simple as that. Her remarks were lies. She falsely portrays Islam and Muslims as threats to freedom, to American society, and this is reckless fear-mongering. Sorry, forgive me. Gabbard's lies place a direct target on the back of American Muslims. Her remarks have placed the community here in Paterson, the mosques here in Paterson, in the crosshairs, putting them in direct harm's way by conflating Muslim civic participation and Muslim contributions in society with terrorism and with the activities happening overseas. She is blurring the lines and putting our community in harm's way, and drawing a parallel between activities that happen overseas and here is unacceptable. Everyone in America lives under U.S. Constitution.
Yes. And
their own respective state laws. So to say otherwise is not debate. It is an incitement of harassment against people here in Paterson. To insinuate that they are trying to impose or overthrow local law is a lie. And it is an incitement of violence against these people. These are fabrications that are not based in reality. Muslims contribute to Paterson and across New Jersey. They are a very diverse community: Arab, South Asian, Turkish, Bosnian, Albanian, Black community, African community, and so on. The Muslim community is rich and diverse and contributes economically, socially, culturally. And the only thing I would say is the only thing that Muslims are imposing on Paterson is maybe their delicious cuisine.
Very good. Well said. Well played.
Palestinian hummus, Yemeni chai, Turkish kebabs.
Yes.
That is the Muslim contribution to Paterson. But all jokes aside, this rhetoric has real-world consequences. It is this rhetoric that opens the door for bad actors. And the target she has placed on our community puts our community in harm's way. It's unacceptable and unbefitting, unbecoming of a leader in her position. Now I want to thank our elected officials who have come out strongly condemning Gabbard's rhetoric, specifically Senator Cory Booker, Representative Nellie Poe, and Rob Menendez. Their statements have been published, and we appreciate them standing with the community here in Paterson and condemning this vile, racist and hateful rhetoric against Muslims and Islam. But we're also calling on the rest of our local, state, and federal officials to speak up. It is necessary that we condemn this hatred and we stop vilifying the American Muslim community. I want to conclude with this. Why is Gabbard fabricating these lies? It is very simple. In my opinion, and I speak for myself and I speak for CAIR when I say this, that it is our belief that it is a distraction from the reality of what's happening in America. The fact is, Americans across the political spectrum are fed up with the overwhelming, outsized influence of the pro-Israel lobby on our US politicians. That is the issue that Americans are wrestling with. And to distract from that, to distract from Israel's influence on our politics, they have created a boogeyman. They have vilified the American Muslim community. And they are pinning us against the rest of America, against American values and civil rights. When in fact, American Muslims are at the forefront of fighting for justice. American Muslims echo the sentiment that it is America first that should be prioritized above all interests. This is why Gabbard and her colleagues are so desperate to paint us as the boogeyman. She needs a scapegoat, and she has, unfortunately, illustrated the Muslim community as the boogeyman, as the villain. This is unbecoming and unbefitting of a leader. By turning Muslims as a scapegoat, Gabbard has fractured a growing movement across America that is challenging the political status quo. Instead of addressing the political status quo, instead of addressing the chokehold that the pro-Israel lobby has on our politicians, she would rather fabricate and illustrate a boogeyman within the Muslim community. But this is an injustice to the American Muslim community and an injustice to all marginalized communities who fight for civil rights. So I'll conclude with this. Thank you for those and our allies who stand with us in our fight for justice. Oh, and I must say this, and I'll yield. What is the word Sharia that she uses repeatedly in her speech in Phoenix? She tosses this word around meaninglessly, aimlessly. The word Sharia and Sharia is nothing but a moral code, an ethical code that defines Muslim practice and defines the Muslim way of life. It is very similar to Catholic canon law and Jewish law. It is teaching righteousness, justice, to love thy neighbor and to support the downtrodden. Muslims contribute to society in meaningful ways because they follow their Islamic values and principles. And it is because Muslims are pious, proud, and practicing that they improve the conditions of the societies that they live in. It is the Muslims who practice their faith and give back sincerely as businessmen and women, as doctors, as teachers, as taxi drivers, who enrich the fabric of society. And it is because they follow their religion, they follow the Islamic teachings that was taught to them by the Prophet Muhammad and taught to us in the Quran, that we are able to give back to society. The American Muslim community loves this nation as its own and will fight for justice tooth and nail, and we will continue to defend civil rights for all people. All forms of racism must be condemned. Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, xenophobia, etc. Anti-black racism, unacceptable. And Gabbard's remarks continue to fuel the flames that puts communities in harm's way. Thank you for our allies and our supporters. Thank you to the mayor once again. God bless all. Take care.
Thank you, Salahuddin.
Yes,
yeah,
question for you.
Please.
First thing, are you calling on her to apologize,
Yes.
resign, backtrack? What would you like?
Apology is absolutely necessary. Apology and retracting the statements that she made is bare minimum. That harm has been done, but now she has to make up for it by speaking, by retracting the statements, apologizing, and correcting.
Right.
The stage that she held in Arizona was no small stage. She was in front of a large conference, the Turning Point, I believe was the name of the host of the conference. She had a captivated audience, people applauding for her. That has a real world consequence on people's lives. We saw what happened in Australia, and we can't help but have that thought cross our minds, that something like that may, God forbid, we hate to even say it out loud, but may happen here in Paterson. And it is because of the rhetoric that people like Gabbard are putting out there. But unfortunately, Gabbard has a long history of anti-Muslim, Islamophobic rhetoric targeting our community. It's disappointing that she is in leadership, but it's important that our local leaders speak up. And that's why we deeply appreciate the mayor and those like him who are using his platform to call out this fear-mongering.
Mayor?
Yeah, actually, I want to dovetail on that because I want to take it a step further. Tulsi Gabbard does owe us an apology, and she should do it in person.
Yes.
Because I want her to come and see for herself.
Yes.
I want to extend an invitation on behalf of Patersonians for her to visit a specific section that is the proud home of many Muslims. It's South Paterson. So she could see hardworking, productive American citizens who are constantly contributing to the social and economic fabric of our city. And she will see many of these successful merchants happen to be Palestinian, or they happen to be Egyptian or Turkish. And in another section of the city, we have the Bengali with Albanians as well. But she should come to South Paterson and see for herself, because when I started off by saying that she is the director of national intelligence, well, clearly she's misinformed. So the things she needs to know, she should find out for herself by visiting and seeing a thriving American city with thriving American citizens who are making daily contributions to the success of this specific section in our city. So without any further ado, I want to introduce our last speaker, Besma Basharat from the Palestinian American Community Center.
Thank you.
The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor Andre. Thank you, Salahuddin. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Besma Basharat, B-A-S-M-A, last name B-S-H-A-R-A-T. I serve as the Palestine Education Director at the Palestinian American Community Center of New Jersey. I want to echo Mayor Andre's statements. PAC has served many of the families and communities here in Paterson. We've served Palestinian and Arab and other communities alike across New Jersey, not only in Paterson, for years now. We are educators, we are parents, youth workers, artists, business owners, and community advocates. We're deeply rooted in this city, and we're here today because the remarks that have been said are deeply alarming and are directly harming our community. Recent remarks made by Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, they falsely portray Muslims in Paterson as a threat to American freedom, and like Mayor Andre said, they're inaccurate. They are dangerous, and they rely on Islamophobic conspiracy theories that have long been used to justify discrimination and surveillance of our communities. But as a Palestinian institution and organization, we also must say that this moment is not only Islamophobic, it's also deeply anti-Palestinian. And there's been a sharp and alarming rise in anti-Palestinian hate in the last few years, especially since the beginning of the genocide in Gaza. We've witnessed a normalization of rhetoric that treats Palestinians as inherently violent, suspect, and underdeserving of basic human rights. Palestinians have been increasingly targeted, not just for being Muslim, but for being Palestinian, and for speaking up for Palestine, for speaking about our identity, our history, and the reality of what our families and our community members are enduring. We've seen the consequences of this hatred in devastating ways. One example that always comes to my mind is in Chicago, 6-year-old Wadia Fayoumi, the age of my own child. He was a Palestinian American child murdered by his own neighbor in an act that was driven by purely anti-Palestinian and anti-Muslim hate. That tragedy didn't just happen in isolation. It happened in a climate where Palestinians are deliberately being dehumanized, where our grief is dismissed, and where calls for our basic humanity are met with suspicion and punishment. Here in our community, we can say firsthand how we felt this. At PAC, we've received countless calls for help, and I'm sure CAIR can tell you the same. Community members have faced threats at work, they've lost their jobs just for speaking up about Palestine. Students have been called terrorists by their own teachers, and young people are being silenced, disciplined, and singled out simply for expressing concern for Gaza or for just being Palestinian in identity. And this is what anti-Palestinian racism looks like in practice. And that's the same rhetoric that's being fueled and why we're here today. It fuels ignorance, racism, and harm. And let's be clear, like we've said, Palestinians in Paterson are not a threat. On the contrary, Muslims in Paterson and Palestinians are not a threat. Our communities are raising families, we're contributing to the economy, we're educating our children, we are serving our neighbors, and we're exercising the same constitutional rights as everyone else. At PAC, our mission has always been grounded in education, dignity, and truth, and we believe that confronting Islamophobia also means confronting anti-Palestinian hate, because the two are often intertwined, and because Palestinians are being and have been uniquely targeted for both who we are and what we speak out against. This discourse claiming that Sharia, which has been deliberately distorted in the public discourse, has been deliberately done to harm our communities. Paterson is one of the most diverse cities in our country. And I want to echo Mayor Andre's statement. I would like to welcome anyone to come in, and you will see firsthand the hospitality and the welcoming attitude of every single community member here. Whether it's a business owner or whether you step foot in a stranger's door, they will welcome you with open arms. Our diversity isn't a liability, it's a strength. And we have to protect it, not exploit it. We stand today with CAIR-NJ, with Mayor Andre, and with our Muslim and Palestinian neighbors in calling for accountability. We urge all public officials to reject this rhetoric that dehumanizes our communities and to speak responsibly, especially in these moments. We will continue to show up for our community, for truth, and for justice. Thank you all for being here today.
I'm a proud American. I'm a proud Patersonian. In fact, Paterson is the only home that I've ever known. It's where my mother raised me, and it's where my wife and I are raising our 3 children. And we're raising them to be proud Americans and proud Patersonians. And things that Tulsi Gabbard also needs to know, that Paterson is the home of the #1 elementary school for the 2nd consecutive year, according to U.S. News and World Report, in the state of New Jersey. And it just so happens that a large number of the students at that school are Muslim. And as I stated before, one of our most successful business districts is right in South Paterson, where Muslims are contributing, like I said, to the social and economic fabric of our city. And so this is the season of acceptance. This is the season of giving. It is not the season of intolerance. It's not the season of ignorance. It's not the season of fear-mongering or hate-mongering, for that matter. Look at City Hall. Look at the city of Paterson. We embrace all faiths. We embrace all races. We embrace all ethnic backgrounds. We lit this menorah last week, and this week we lit the menorah once again. Outside you'll see a Christmas tree that could, in my opinion, rival the Rockefeller Center. That may be debatable, but it's still out there so that everyone can see Paterson welcomes everyone. And Paterson has never failed a friend. And Tulsi Gabbard needs to know that Paterson is a better place because Muslims call our city home. And she starts her speeches by saying, aloha. We say, ahlan wa sahlan. You're welcome to visit us in Paterson, so you can apologize and see with your own eyes how Muslims are thriving in an all-American city. Thank you.
I also want to contribute one thing too.
He was
One personal story.
And
anyway, so thank you for sharing, the story about Paterson, your personal connection. Obviously.
Sure.
And it reminded me of my own personal connection. So my grandfather moved to Paterson as a Turkish immigrant and settled here in Paterson, where he built his business here in this city. And my father continues to operate that business till to this day, my family business.
MashaAllah.
Turkish immigrants, Arab immigrants continue to contribute to the fabric of this city. And they are welcomed by the elected officials and by the neighbors of this city. And we are proud to have built our roots here and have the restaurants and the businesses that enrich the traditions and the city of life here in Paterson. And we've contributed to the mosques and the community centers in places like PAC, which enliven and make the city an example for so many others. And the mayor has done amazing work to improve the conditions of the city over the years. And I think it has a bright future ahead of that. And that's because of your leadership and the city, the community members' contributions and investments in the city across all religious faiths and racial groups. And it's because of that brotherhood that has been built in Paterson and the open arms that exists here that we've been able to nurture such a beautiful community.
I'm just going to one thing.
James.
When Tulsi Gabbard said this, just what was your initial reaction? That she would single out?
Yeah, well,
Did she single out?
first as the CEO of the city, and clearly a native son who's raising daughters and a son here as well, I was outraged. We don't want to be mentioned in that light. And in fact, to be completely candid with you, it reminded me of Alina Haba at the outset of this year, kept mentioning Paterson for the wrong reasons. And quite frankly, look, we are human beings just like everybody else. We cherish our children's futures, we bleed like everybody, we cry like everybody else, we celebrate like everyone else. So there's no need for her to belittle, vilify any of us. Sometimes I think people like to break others down so they can build themselves up.
Yes.
But in this city, like I stated before, we're all about acceptance and appreciation, which is important. And she needs to develop an appreciation of a proud, historic American city.
Yeah, 100%.
No, who wants your reaction?
You want to?
Please.
I mean,
Did you
it's
throw something?
It's shocking, just like Mayor said, I grew up here, I grew up in Clifton and in Paterson, so I know firsthand what it is. It's outrageous. It's outrageous and unacceptable, and I really do want to echo it. Anyone is welcome. If you walk down the street, you'll see how hospitable and generous and welcoming everyone is.
Yes, that's true.
Like-
I had mentioned yesterday.
So to answer the question, like, what was my reaction when I saw the video? I mean, yeah, absolutely outraged. But at the same time, unfortunately, the American Muslim community has become a little numb to the rhetoric. And so a part of me just kind of like laughs. Like, wow, here we go again. Here we go again. And we've been so beaten down and vilified by these leaders. It's unfortunate. But we will keep our chin up high, and we know that we are on the side of justice here in America. We are on the forefront, fighting for civil rights and protecting the Constitution and contributing in a rich way to our societies. And we do call for an America First foreign policy. And I think that's one of the reasons why she is targeting our community, because it challenges the status quo, specifically that which really, unfortunately, and I must say, prioritizes Israel's interests over that of the American community, over American civil rights, over long-term American security, over the American interests in more broadly.
And just to elaborate a little bit further, thanks, James. When I see the ignorance, and it's not just Tulsi Gabbard, there's others with podcasts or they've made vitriolic statements that have gone viral. Sometimes it is comical because it shows how misinformed that they are, but it's critical that we get the message out, that we disseminate accurate information about Paterson. I remember one podcast I saw, they said, well, the entire council now is Muslim. We're proud that we have 3 out of 9 council members that are Muslim. And one day when I voluntarily leave office, maybe Paterson will get their first Muslim mayor. And quite frankly, he or she will not be elected because of their faith. I'm hoping that he or she will be elected because of their qualifications and their values, American values. People make a choice to come to this country. Alexander Hamilton is the founder of Paterson. He was an immigrant that paved the way for others. And so I venture to say that Paterson is the birthplace of the American dream, because Hamilton was an immigrant with an idea, with an imagination. And that led to industrialization, which led to even more immigration. And so they came here. And Tulsi will find out when she visits that Paterson is the home of the Great Falls and great people. And a number of those people may pray a different way, but are proud to pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.